been going to conventions since as long as I can remember, if I'm completely honest.
Because, like, sometimes you can't cover an entire genre in half an hour.
Pausing, and we will probably resume it sometime this week.
It's kind of like the special features on a DVD.
Field Guide to Monsters?
One of the handbooks over there.
Huh.
This is Argo City Extra, a special edition of the Argo City podcast with Maddie and Matthew. Welcome back. Here's the continuation of our discussion on The Devil Wears Prada.
First and foremost, Andy gets in trouble with the boss, and so the boss gives her an impossible task.
She has to find the manuscript to one of the Harry Potter books that hasn't been released yet.
Yep.
And she goes on this whole journey trying to figure out how to get this manuscript. She's talking to, like, different people, different connections. The blonde, I'm just going to call him Blondie. The Blondie, who I hate with every fiber of my being, the Blondie manages to find the manuscript and gives it to her. And, well, I find that really interesting. Because one of the things that J.K. Rowling did is that she would give out, like, original copies of the books. You know how I'm kind of in, like, my digital circus hyperfixation right now?
Yes.
So Marissa, the voice actor of Gangle, she grew up in, like, a lot of wealth. And she, because of her grandmother, was actually one of the first people to receive the first Harry Potter book.
Ah.
And she told the story on, like, a stream where, like, her grandmother had, like, put in for it, and then she got surprised in her pajamas, and she couldn't care less for some reason because she was, like 8. But no, that was actually a thing. So I wouldn't have been surprised if she had asked that maybe they could have gotten, like, a first edition of it.
No, then that's exactly the thing. It's like it exists out there somewhere. It's close enough to publication because even back in December when I was doing some of my pieces for the art show, if you watched my Facebook, you would see a notification that said, okay, the finished pieces have gone out to the out-of-towners who are probably not going to be bidding on it, who are probably not going to be buying it. It's going to the out-of-towners, the people that I trust, for their opinion. So drafts always go out. And the idea of the impossible task. I think it's interesting you picked up on. She finds one of her connections. See, this is something it's important to do, whether it's professionally or just in life. So for a while there, Mom was a nanny for a young man who was in the neighborhood taking care of him after school.
Oh.
And one year, he was just completely into The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
And
now
I
I
leveraged some of my connections, and I made it so that Jack and Sally showed up at his birthday party.
Who ended up coming as the Sally?
That was my dear friend Selena.
Oh, it was Selena. Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes, you've met her.
Yes, I have.
It's that kind of thing, though, that can help. I have people that I can talk to that if I'm completely lost on a problem at work, I have people that I can talk to if I need somebody to show up for a dying child at a birthday party or something like that. Connections are important. And it's interesting that she's just discovering that there.
Yeah, and we see her, like, get more and more throughout. Like,
Yes.
like, literally, towards, like, the beginning, she has to, like, look up a phone number. And then later on, as we see, she knows it by memory. And it's just, I love, they do the progression so well in this.
You know what? There's also something I noticed at the end. At the very end, she's out of the industry. Well, she's out of the fashion magazine industry. But she calls back to Emily, who was so mean to her. And she's like, I have all of these outfits left over from Fashion Week. I've got no place to wear them. Would you like them? Would you be willing to take them off my hands?
She's like,
You know what?
so begrudgingly, I guess. I'll have him pick him over, too.
She's got a safe face.
Yeah.
And some of that is about making connections. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, though. Some of that is also about just... It's an interesting life lesson. Be good to the people who were mean to you, especially on the way out. There's the general wisdom is don't step on somebody on the way up because you never know who's you're going to encounter on the way down. Or how about just the very simple do unto others as you'd have done unto you.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. Like,
you know what, when the Bible says love your enemies, we don't have to make it complicated. Doing something like this is, you know, you don't want to. She doesn't deserve them. Okay, let me say full out, Emily does not deserve these dresses. She doesn't deserve any of this stuff. But it is the difference in living just, okay, a nice, plain, straight edge, straight, narrow life, and the difference between living a principled life.
It almost like, I know I've gone through a couple things where I've accidentally befriended some of my bullies, sometimes for better or for worse. But no, that's interesting because I've
look, it's hard to live that kind of a principled life. Like, we do not want to.
It's like, oh my gosh, as someone who is applying for a new job, I'm like, I want to give my job 2 weeks notice, but I really want to get out of there.
You want to burn the place down on your way out. You really do.
Frankly, I really do need to call the health department on them, but...
But there's also something to be said for leaving on a professional basis. And you know what? That's leaving on a nice straight line. Mm-hmm. Leaving on a principled line. Going above and beyond to help out the people there. Or to, you know... I remember... I don't like to tell stories where it's like, oh, look how good I am. But I remember...
No, he really does avoid that kind of stuff.
I remember just when I was a teenager leaving my paper route. And there was one kid who was the bully.
Aww.
Because he wanted that paper route. He didn't get it.
Oh.
And he was mad at me. So you have to walk all the way around my house, all the way around that sidewalk. And it's like, when I left that I actually recommended him for the job. He doesn't know. I don't even remember what his name is. So he's never going to know. But I wanted to rise above it.
Aw, that's sweet.
And I'll tell you what, I've got no bitterness about him being a jerk. I've got no bitterness about that situation. I left it behind, and I tried to do good on my way out. And I admire the fact that Andy is trying to do that on her way out. This is what I'm saying about, this is a genuinely good movie.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to do this kind of stuff. They're trying to talk about this kind of stuff. And they don't have to. If you wanted to be a nice little Lifetime chick flick, she would have done something that got Emily in trouble on the way out. And no, that's not the direction they're going.
No, they really do take it in a route that brings us full circle. And it's hard to say, it's hard to put it into words that I haven't already said, how much fun this one was.
Andy doesn't always make good decisions, though. So can we talk about the one really bad decision? The one thing that just... The thing I hate about this movie, and it involves Blondie.
Yes, Blondie, the butthole.
I don't want to rob Andy of her agency here. So, as she's drifting further and further into this, well, this hunky, flirty Blondie guy And he is flirty. Even when things are good with her boyfriend, he's still flirty. Mm-hmm. And talking about principled, well, this is kind of the opposite.
Yeah, I watched this guy as, like, it wasn't the first time, it was actually the second interaction.
It took some time for you to start giving
and
him the stink eye.
I was like, it took me a second, and then I, like, catched on, coincidentally enough, because of Hunger Games. But I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing. Because you really can't have, like, a chick flick or anything like that without some guy trying to come in and ruin everything. I feel like we need to have less of those.
Well, it's actually part of the formula, because you have to, somewhere right before the third act, you have to have a tragedy, a catastrophe, something that separates the hero from their
like group.
Yes. I'm literally quoting, like, paraphrasing principles of screenwriting. Huh. So this is part of it. I mean, Nigel warns her too. It's like, yeah, it's amazing how busy you get when you start doing well at work. Come back to me when your life starts completely falling apart. That's when you're up for a promotion. It's the movie foreshadowing itself again. This movie loves that sort of subtle foreshadowing. Because, well, she falls for the Lothario's affections. And if there was 5 minutes I could cut out of this movie to make it better, it'd be that. It kind of would be.
Yeah.
It bothers me because, okay, don't hit me for quoting Friends, but we were on a break, and they were, but it's icky.
I was gonna say, in my personal opinion, I've always seen a break as in you're still together, but you just need a break from each other. Like, I know with friendships and such that I've had in the past, with one particular girl, we essentially took a break and we restarted the next school year. Mm-hmm. And that break helped because it let us start everything fresh. She was still not a great person, but whatever, it was fine. We eventually made up in the end.
Well, yeah, I've had a couple friends where I've told them, okay, dude, you need to give me just a little bit of space. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, even in a relationship, because Andy gets back with the boyfriend at the end.
He shouldn't have taken her back that easily.
Well, she didn't tell him.
She didn't
tell him that she stooped some other hunky guy in Paris. It must be like Las Vegas. What happens here stays here. But...
And you know what, honestly, even feels even stranger to me? At this point, they're playing into the whole thing that she's so busy she doesn't have time for her boyfriend. Yet, you have time for him? I almost feel like if we wanted to cut that out, we could have just gone with the whole she's too busy all the time.
It's one of those things that bothers me. Infidelity always bothers me.
Yeah, it's like, even towards, like, the beginning, when, I think it was at the party, he's offering to bring her back in for a drink. She's on her way to her boyfriend's birthday, but he's offering her a drink so that he can introduce her to the magazine person.
Yes, and I pointed out that, and I'm shifting uncomfortably and not liking him, and you were defending him at that point still.
Because the thing is, she told him no, and he accepted that answer, and I was like, okay, I can respect that he took that no, because I know in a lot of these chick flicks, they'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, but he said no and he backed away. Looking back, he's testing the boundaries, so...
He absolutely is.
I hate it.
I mean, it's just... I can't... If you'll pardon me using the phrase trigger unironically, that's one for me. Because I don't hang out with women. I mean, I do, but not alone. I go to great lengths to try and keep myself from ever being alone with a woman that I am not related to. It happens from time to time. It does. But I go to great lengths. And it's not like the chicks are flocking to my door and flirting with me and falling down before. But there's been a couple that have flirted, and those get put on the short list immediately on the long arm. And I don't want the temptation. I don't want to find myself in her position.
Yeah.
I don't want to suddenly find myself with the opportunity that I didn't expect. What if I just had a fight? What if I'm mad? What if somebody slipped me a Mickey and I am dancing on the tables? I don't want to be alone with a woman at that time. Trust me, no woman wants to be alone with me either when I'm dancing on the tables. But
oh no.
she's not going out of her way to keep herself from that situation. It bothers me. It's a poor choice. But when you're 20, you make bad choices. So I can't dismiss it, but it's the single part of this movie that bothers me. It's the one bit of poison in an otherwise brilliant film. And you can tell how much it bothers me because of how long I've been talking about it.
Yeah, I wonder, looking back, how many minutes has it been at this point. But no, I get it. I'm just like, man, I'm so used to seeing it and stuff. It doesn't tend to I don't try to, what's the term? I don't try to assume until I know for sure. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was like, oh, yeah.
On a slightly lighter note, so you mentioned the time transition, and I thought that was interesting because at first it's like, okay, he's handing her these Jimmy Choos. Oh, those heels are so tall. She's wearing comfortable shoes. Just let her wear comfortable.
Just let her wear the flats. Legitimately, the other day when I was at my friend Ocean's house, she had these like giant heels that are like this tall, and she was like, let's have you try them on. And I'm like, no! And she made me try them on, and I stumbled. And I'll have to show you the video of it. It's hilarious.
Wearing heels is a talent. It's not a skill that you necessarily want to ignore. Like, the equivalent, I think, for guys is learning how to drive a stick shift.
What?
Like a car, like a manual transmission.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's something that's like automatic transmission. You've only ever driven over an automatic transmission. Is so much easier. You have no idea how hard a stick shift is.
Oh.
But it's something every man should learn.
No,
and I think that with women, heels is kind of the equivalent. Even if you don't do it, even if you never wear them, man, it's just nice to know how.
I literally learned how to wear like a pair of heels for the Renaissance Fair, and looking back, it was a terrible idea.
Well, the Renaissance Fair is the wrong
wrong place. But I did also wear them when I was out one day, and it was wonderful because I feel tall. But
for a convention girl like you, that's the context, okay? Convention or a nice professional interviews, an environment.
Sure.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. In the environment she's in the professional environment she's in, in the professional fashion environment she's in, that's more about dressing for work.
That's true.
I think that's interesting because we talked earlier about my questionable personal fashion. But the thing is, my day job is IT. You have seen me more than a few mornings going out. In fact, you used to see me every morning when I was dropping you off at school.
Yeah, I was asleep most of the time, but yeah.
Every day, it's a vest or a sweater, a necktie, not nearly as well done as Nigel's. I'm still envious. And I don't wear a suit, but I will wear a leather jacket in the winter months that is a suit jacket rather than, say, a biker jacket. Mm-hmm. On the weekends, that's not what I look like. On the weekends, there still might be a sweater, although it's probably emblazoned with stuff, or it might be a vest with band patches or horror patches, a graphic tee of some sort with some sort of horror or comic thing. There's a fedora usually. Amy gets really frustrated trying to buy coats for me because there are two qualifications. I will only wear leather, or I will wear a long coat. Oh. It's one of those two. And if it's not one of those two, I don't wear it. The jean coat, that's specifically for concerts because it's covered with band patches. There's usually a trilby or a fedora. There's a hat. I like hats. I don't care that whether it's in fashion or not anymore. I'm old enough where I don't have to care anymore. Mm. But I don't dress like that when I go to the office. There's something to be said about dressing for work, about dressing for the corporate or cultural environment that you're working in.
Like, I wish I had something I could add to that, but I work fast food and I have a uniform shirt, aside from the occasional bow that I'll throw on the back of my bun, but that's about it.
You know what? It's funny. Well, it's funny. When I was still doing fast food, to be fair, it was the opposite of that kind of rule. Because when I was doing fast food, yes, I wore my Wendy's shirt. It was a button-up. It was also unbuttoned up down to, like, the belly button. I had a t-shirt underneath. But
yours were button-ups?
Mine were button-ups. And I wouldn't tuck my long hair underneath the hat unless there was an inspection. Oh. Then I did the managers a favor.
A favor? My manager's so picky now, they're getting mad that my pants are gray instead of black.
We literally had to, like, dye her jeans.
These are the same pants that I wore for the entirety of my senior year of high school. And I couldn't wear them anymore.
Well, that's why they're not black anymore.
Exactly. They're like Stonehenge, and we had to go and dye them all. Actually, we need to dye the rest of them now that I think about it. But, yeah,
I've got a couple pieces from the shadow that need to go in there, too, so we're good with it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But, no, in a grown-up environment outside of fast food... Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, even, like, my managers or the district managers, they showed up in a necktie. Oh. So there's something to be said for it. She's assimilating into the culture, into the corporate culture. Mm. That's one of those other evidences of her growth, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. When we come back to her disdain of the whole, okay, it's fashion. How much does this stuff cost? And how ridiculous is this? But her boyfriend's a chef. He's making her $8 grilled cheeses in their apartment.
Oh, that's sweet.
He's spending as much on food as she does on fashion.
Oh, that's true.
I think the juxtaposition is necessary to look at. Because even as she grows into this, her friends don't. They still are above it all.
Yeah, like...
But the art gallery exhibit has to have cost as much as anything that Miranda's doing. The time when her chef boyfriend shows up, it's like, I got all these strawberries. I swear they're like $5 a piece. Oh. How is this different? You buying, 20 of those $5 a piece strawberries and the $100 belt that she's getting for her outfit. There's value in fandoms. There's value in different genres. It might not be that for me, but it is for you. the utter lack of respect. And the fact that her friends don't get it. That they're tossing around her phone when her boss is calling.
Yeah, like, what the heck, dude? I mean, I panic every time my boss calls me because it's rare. But, like, it scares the crap out of me. I as someone that knows the consequences for not answering the phone when you're called, like, she could have lost her job over that. Like, knowing that devil, she could have lost her job, and they don't care. Or, well, more so, they don't understand the consequences of it.
There's definitely that. And maybe it's because they haven't had to deal with difficult people.
Yeah.
I mean, we both dealt with difficult people at work. Back in my days at the factory, even though I'm getting promoted into, like, middle management and stuff like that, the upper management or some of the guys that were right above me, like, oh, dude, Lou, I won't give his last name.
Okay.
But Lou, nobody could get along with Lou. That's one of the reasons why I kept getting promoted and to under him. Nobody else could get along with him.
Aww.
But he actually came out of food. So at lunch, he would pull out a grill. He would pull out a griddle and make his lunch in the little lunchroom. No, seriously.
That's amazing.
It was, and that's exactly what I would talk to him about food and about food television.
Huh.
And then when he would give me grief about something, I showed up for inventory. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm the production scheduler there or not. It's all hands on deck for the twice yearly inventory. Count everything in the shop.
Oof.
And he's making fun of my Superman shirt. So I made fun of his Calvin and Hobbes shirt.
You got it back!
I did, but you know what the thing is? And nobody would dare do something like that. I did. And you know what happened? He respected me after that. He liked me because I'd give it right back to him.
Oh, man. Like, the more... I've been trying my best, like, the last couple months or so. I'm trying to be more assertive with myself because of the workplace that I'm in. And I have been kind of noticing the same thing. I'm standing up for myself more often, and they're not bothering me as often.
Even back when we see her interview, it's the fact that she pushed back on Miranda, despite the fact that she's a mousy, lost little thing.
A sad little child.
That got her attention.
That's true.
And that showed potential. Now, it might have taken an impossible task to show her that she could reach that potential, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's showing that she's doing those things. She's making contacts. She's growing. It takes a while to grow into a tough job like that. But she's learning those lessons. And I don't know how many people learn those lessons. In my industry, I have run into the same people again and again and again. But you know what? I've also run into those same people again and again and again. I've run into the same people in cons again and again and again. And you're running into some of that as well. These are surprising life lessons that are nestled within this kind of Russian nesting doll of a chick flick. I don't dismiss this one as just that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's so much more to it, especially when you take the time to really break down everything in it.
We were actually well into our second episode of this, into the extra.
No.
And I think we have wrung just every bit of insight we can out of this. Do you have anything else that like really struck you here?
Honestly, just one last thing.
Yes.
One, and I mentioned this to you earlier, but when her and what's your favorite character's name again? Nigel, yes. So when Andy and Nigel are sitting in the townhouse, they're celebrating, they're doing champagne, celebrating Nigel going up for a big job promotion. Yay, good for him. If only. Good for him. We love Nigel. But as they are like about to do their toast, one of the things that I've been, anybody who's watched this before knows that I'm a big Japan fan. When she raises her glass to clink against his, she keeps hers distinctly above his. In well, what's the term? It's customary in Japan that when you are talking to someone who is a higher level than you, you're supposed to distinctly raise yours below it, despite the fact that she distinctly had hers above him. And I think that shows a bit of arrogance, because it's right before that big finale. So I don't think I don't think it's purposeful. I don't
think it's purposeful, but it may be in that moment. She has, because he's about to leave.
That's
so
true.
In the company, it may just be that she's risen above him. She's certainly risen above any expectations that he had for her.
That's true. I don't know. That is something that did stand out to me, but that's about
subconscious, subtle things. We're breaking this apart like it's a Stanley Kubrick movie, and I don't know if it deserves quite that attention, but at the same time, no, this is something genuinely good. And I mean, it's 2006, and this movie is 20 years old. If you haven't seen this, it is worthwhile. Go back and give this a second look.
Or watch it for the first time.
A lot of this stuff in mind.
Yeah. This is such a fascinating film, and I don't know, I loved it. I loved every second of this. I thought we were going to pause and continue the rest of it tomorrow, but we ended up watching the whole thing, and it was wonderful.
Absolutely. So that is it for The Devil Wears Prada. And
Yay.
We will see you next week.
Bye.